You see here, takes a second to load, but we are going to be talking about setting leads without having to use rebuttals. Today, we're going to start with that. Okay. And then for new hires, we're going to get into some window problem stuff afterwards, but I mean, I'll have it on the YouTube just in case that people want to watch that or catch up with it or whatever. But the main focus is going to be setting leads sort of with ease.
How, how
And
do we get
without,
the YouTube videos?
I'll put them in the GroupMe, so then you can see the whole channel
Okay, gotcha.
without using rebuttals. Okay, so the first thing is, I mean, when you're approaching a house, because there's no like simple easy fix here, right? I mean, there's like some pretty magical stuff that we use, scripting that we use and whatnot that works extremely well, but there's no actual like magical fix. There's no like, okay, this works 100% of the time, right? You have to work it. The first thing that I can say is that, if you talk to anybody that knows anything about this job, what we've realized over the last couple of years, what we've come to know, is that confidence is the most important factor in this job. There's no other factor that is more important than confidence. It's the most important factor. Okay, and I mean, quite frankly, that's any interaction, right? So, second. I mean, any interaction that you're having, okay, whether it's with somebody that you're interested in dating, or if it's a customer, or it's a spouse or a friend, having confidence going into that conversation. My friend comes to me and says, "Hey, listen, I have this medical issue, right? It's not that big of a deal, or whatever." And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know. That sounds rough." And again, that's not exactly going to make them feel better about the situation, right? If your spouse comes to you and says, "Hey, listen, I think our relationship's going really, really well. I'm really happy to be with you," and you're like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it can be good. Right? It's not exactly going to make them feel better about the relationship. It's not going to make them feel stable in the relationship or content in the relationship. They're not going to feel confident that that's going to be a long-lasting relationship. When you walk up to a customer and the look on your face dictates that you're not confident, and the tone of voice that you have dictates that you're not confident, and you don't believe that you're going to do well for the day, then you're not going to do well for the day. There's going to be no success that comes from that experience, because again, it's just like the other interactions. You're essentially going, this isn't going that well, and you can read it all over your face. So I can tell when you come in the morning. I can tell this, by the way, too. I can look at a lot of you and I can say, this guy's got a great attitude. This guy's doing awesome. I can see a smile on his face. He's doing all the right things. Or I could say, this guy looks like he's being, kind of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy is in a bad mood. He's being a whiny shit. I could tell, right? Something must have happened. And again, everybody's subject to those days. Everyone can have bad days, but I can tell when people walk in, you can tell who has a bad. There's a guy who's not here anymore, but he was there for a little bit and he did okay. But man, this guy would come in, and whenever he came in with a shitty attitude, you could see it from a mile away. Okay. And he never did well. Never did well when he had that attitude on. And it was often, it was probably half the time that he had that attitude on. And so you can tell. So the biggest thing, guys, is that having confidence, you have to know. So what I'll put down is you have to know that you are going to get success. You can't think that, okay? You can't have an idea that you're going to get. You have to know that you're going to see success. Do you think that our top 5 people, when they come in on a daily basis, do you think that they're telling themselves, maybe I'll do okay today? No, I should be fine. Okay. No, they're telling themselves, okay, I know what I'm going to get. It's a matter of, am I going to get 5 or am I going to get 6? Right. It's the same thing, right? I want you to think real quick about your personal life. So I want you to think about outside of work and how confidence has impacted you in the past, or lack of confidence has impacted you in the past. For a lot of people, it's put them in a lot of bad situations. It's put them in a place where they have less control over themselves and the things around them, okay, than they normally would have. It's a sad situation, to be honest with you. A lot of teenagers deal with this, where they have a situation where, like peer pressure, that kind of deal, because they have no control over themselves, or the things around them. They rely on other people to control those things for them. It's a very dangerous and scary endeavor. And that's why it's so important that we don't ever fall into that. You have to know that you're going to get success. It can't be a question in your mind. You have to know it. No idea. You know it. All right. That's the first thing. Okay. That confidence is going to create a body language and voice tone experience for the customer that's going to give them a much better impression. Okay. So you're going to do a set of things when you're at a house. Okay. When you're talking to a customer, you're going to do a set of things that's going to make the customer feel good or bad about you as a person and about what you do. They're going to make you either a liar or they're going to make you telling the truth, honest. You know what I'm saying? You ever get that feeling you're talking to somebody and what they say means so much that it almost creates a tingle and you almost feel like you feel really good about what they're saying. It almost makes you feel good inside, genuinely good inside, because of it, right? That's what we're talking about here with these customers is that you want to make that customer feel positive about what you're doing and what you're offering. Okay. So body language and voice tone becomes extremely important. So there's a set of several things that you'll do walking up to a house. All right, you're in your job, you're going door to door. It's a tough experience. Some people think that you're an asshole inherently because you do it. You know, we've heard it all, man. Get a real job, right? We've heard it all, right? Get a real job. And I always love hearing that when I'm on the road because the average income in the country is like 50K a year. Get a real job, man. I'm probably making 5 times the amount that you make, maybe more, right? Right? Get a real job. Even starting out, you as a 20-year-old, 25, 30-year-old, starting in a new career field that you've never done before, you're making more than that asshole at the door that's saying get a real job. In your job, you have the ability to make much, much more. You know, if you're doing things the right way, you're making $60, $70, $85,000 a year starting out in a job like this, and you're at their door and you get that person sitting there telling you and the janitorial salary of 45 grand a year. Yeah, why don't you get a real job, whatever. You have to have confidence through all that bullshit. So you have to know that that can happen. The glamour of the job comes with the success of the job. Your ability to change people's minds should make you feel good. That's what will make the difference. Okay? So there's a set of several things that you can do to make yourself better as you walk up to the door. And some of them are kind of goofy. So I'm going to go through these things real quick, but I need you guys to take stock of these things and learn from them. So first thing, okay, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but the first thing that you're going to do when you're walking up to a door, when you're walking through a neighborhood, is you're going to look motivated. You have to look motivated. You have to look like you're meant to be there, okay? You're a piece of that neighborhood. You're a part of that community. They are my friend. They are my family. They are not just customers to me. And I'm going to create that relationship with that customer, with that person, because they're not just a customer to me. They mean so much more. And the way that I do that, if you think about it, if I'm motivated, if there's something going on, if I know that my friend is about to make a terrible decision by buying a terrible window from a terrible company, I'm going to run to save them, right? I'm not going to just stand there. I'm not going to walk slowly. I'm going to look motivated. I have a job to do. If the owner of the company is driving around the neighborhood, or I know I'm about to knock on their door, I'm not going to walk up as slow as I possibly can while staring at my cell phone. I'm going to walk motivated. I need to look motivated. So the first thing sounds kind of weird, okay? But literally it is walk motivated. Walk motivated. Walk fast. Walk like you have a place to go. On average, the person that walks fast is going to knock on 20 to 30 more houses per day, creating 20 to 30 more opportunities for themselves per day. And they're going to look better doing it. Okay? I mean, there's no negative to this, right? I'm not really happy with my weight or my health or whatever. You're working in a job now where you can walk around miles a day, where you should be walking around miles a day. Are you going to just meander around or whatever? No, you're going to go walk motivated up to houses. That's what's going to make an impact. Okay, the second thing sounds weird too, but it is wave to everyone. Now, this isn't pageantry. I don't mean literally just stick your hand in the air like a princess and wave it back and forth, obviously. And it's going to be different depending on the neighborhood that you're in. If you're on a main road You're not going to just keep your hand up there and just keep waving at people. I got that. I understand that. Okay. But in most neighborhoods that we go to, we're going to see people time and time again, especially if you're in our remote program and you're in a neighborhood 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Sometimes you're going to see these people time and time again. Or if you're doing knockbacks, you're going to see them at least twice. Okay. You're going to see these people though time and time again. On average, you'll see them probably a minimum of 2 times in that little bit of period there. And so how they see you, their first impression means everything. Guy in my neighborhood, I feel kind of weird about this. I felt kind of funny about it, but guy in my neighborhood, I'm driving down the street one time. I got my kids in the car, and he's weird. He's wearing like a backpack. The older dude, looks like a creep. He's wearing like goggles, and he's walking like really slowly past my house. And I'm like, "What's up with this guy?" It's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I forget where we were going. I think we were driving up to family's house to see family or something like that. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he's walking by real slow. So I leave the driveway and I kind of follow him along his side. And I said, and I finally, I'm like, you know what? This guy looks like a pedo. I'm saying something. This guy's a creep. And I opened up my window and I said, and I took a picture of him. And he looks over and I said, "Hey, what are you doing here, creep?" And he says, "Oh, I live over on 415. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You have a great day." I was never up that early. I never see him walking around. I only see other people walking around. So my point is you don't want to be that guy in the neighborhood, okay? Be friendly with people. Put a smile on your face. Every person that drives by, every person that walks by you, wave to them like you want them to stop, okay? Even aggressively wave to them. Get very flamboyant with it, very, very happy, very like, "Ooh, look at me." You know what I'm saying? You want to put on a show. The person that's robbing houses is not going to be jumping up and down, smiling and waving at customers or victims, in this case, as they drive by, right? So I'm trying to create a customer experience for them, all right? And so that's why I'm going to do this for every person. When I'm walking up to the house, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of wave at the house just in case someone's looking out. And when I get up to the door, I'm going to do the next thing, which is knock friendly and loud. Okay. So if I go up to the house and I'm just like bang, 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 that's going to resemble what? A police officer, right? Okay. That's not the impression that I want to give. That's not the impression that I want to give. Is a cop knock, right? That's not the impression that I want to give. But I do want to make sure that they hear me. Okay. Now I hear all kinds of weird stuff with the Ring doorbells. Now us doing weird stuff. I'm going to tell you something that you can't do in a second that came up the other day. It was just stupid. But the first thing you should do if you see a doorbell, not a Ring doorbell, a regular doorbell, is ring the doorbell. It reverberates across the entire house. But if nobody comes to the door within a not 2-minute, not 30-second, but 15-second or so range, you don't hear anybody inside, then that's when you'll immediately move to knock on the door. Okay. Knock on the door, and we'll go over how to in a second, and then give that another 15 to 20 seconds. Okay. And then at that point, leave the house. All right. If you run into a Ring doorbell and the person tries to talk to you through it, don't ignore them. The other day we had a situation where and guys, if you have a Ring doorbell, you know this. If you're in front of my house, okay, and I listen to you through the Ring doorbell, all right, then I'm gonna know. Like if you pretend like you can't hear me, I know that I've heard other people through the Ring doorbell. And so you're not the first person I've talked to through there, right? So don't do silly stuff like ignore the Ring doorbell until they come outside, because even if they come out, then they're gonna be pretty pissed off. Okay, it's definitely not worth it. Okay, you can knock first, try to avoid the Ring doorbell. That's fine, absolutely, but knock friendly. Okay, so the way that knock friendly works. 1 second. The way that knock friendly works. I always like to do the shave and a haircut one. You can knock as loud as you want. That customer is going to come out in a positive mood, usually, because they're going to go, "Who the hell is that? Who just knocked like that at my house? That's crazy," right? They're not going to think of it negatively most of the time. Okay, that's the way that it goes. All right, so you want to try as hard as you can to create that positive experience for the customer, and you want to try to knock friendly as you can. Okay, that's what you want to do. All right. Next, stand up straight. Posture is important. And you should know this in general, it's good for you, okay? When you're having an interaction with a person, especially one that you want to sway in some type of way, posture is extremely important, okay? If it's a relationship, you don't want to walk up to somebody that you want to start a conversation with on a personal level, and walk up to a girl or something like that and start a conversation with them and be all crunched over and sad and scared. I'll turn your attention to a cartoon that I watched when I was a kid, Rocko's Modern Life. Who's seen Rocko's Modern Life? Just put it in the chat if you have. Rocko's Modern. No, you've seen that before? Great show. They came up with like a Netflix movie, but it was kind of weird. But there was a character. There's three main characters. There's Rocco, who's a wallaby. There's Heifer, who's a cow, and then there's Filbert, who's a turtle. And Filbert plays a character that's all awkward, doesn't want to talk to anybody. Nobody really wants to talk to him. He's just kind of a weird dude. And they do a turtle for a reason, because he's got his big hunchback thing on, his big shell on, right? And that's meant to protect him, okay? The Hunchback of Notre Dame, awkward character, doesn't really like to talk to people, kind of, weird, but he stands in a hunchback, right? These characters, when you see the nerdy character in any movie, they're always not athletic. They can't do anything. They're always kind of hunched over and things like that, all right? And that it's that lack of confidence, all right, that gives them their life experience. So you're pro confidence, okay? Your confidence that you go up to the house with, when you stand up straight and you're able to communicate in a positive way, all right, that's going to go a long way, all right? So the next one is going to be speak with authority. And you can get away with almost any kind of speaking when you can speak with authority. Almost anything that you say when you speak with authority, when you're with a customer, okay? So when I knock on that customer's door, knock, 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 good afternoon, my name is Paul Duffy, Mr. Jones. Great, Mr. Jones. I'm with Renewal by Anderson, and I'm going to slow down when I'm at a customer's door, by the way. We just did some work for Mrs. Smith over on 123 Main Street. The reason why I'm here is I noticed you had the original vinyl windows. How long have you lived in the home? I've been here for a couple of years, but I'm not really interested in doing the windows right now. Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Well, I just want to let you know why I'm here. The reason why I stopped that is because it looked like you had the original vinyl windows, like I said, and they were starting to experience some issues in the front of the home area. It looked like they were starting to grow mold on them. Okay, whatever. The point is you have confidence, okay? I'll say what I want to say to that customer. I just said no doubt to that customer, I think, didn't I? So I'll say what I want to say to that customer in a positive way, obviously, but I don't need to dive into rebuttals because I'm not surviving off of that. They exist. If I kind of get beat down in my scripting, or if I get to a point where I have nothing left to say, they exist. I want to use the rebuttals. I don't want to give up on a conversation. But the first thing I'm going to do is just be straight confident with the person. You know what I'm saying? And talk to them how I want to talk to them. Like I would talk to a friend or a family member or something like that. I'm going to try to do that as best as possible. Anyways, obviously, I'm going to continue to be professional, but within reason. There, I want to be able to have fun with them. Okay. So speak with authority. Now, what does that mean? Speak with authority does not mean yelling. Okay. Speaking with authority, though, does mean elevating your voice. Okay. Elevating your voice. Because people, guys, if you're talking to a customer and you're not doing this, you're not speaking with authority, you're not raising your voice, what's going to happen is that customer is going to give up on listening to you right in the middle of the window problem. So when you're wondering, DM, why am I losing every day? Okay, you're losing because of that. You're losing because your lack of ability to just speak with authority. Hi, Christine, have a good one. To just speak with authority. Okay, so you want to make sure that you keep that up when you're dealing with customers in conversation. Okay, eye contact. Eye contact is important, but don't be a creep. Don't gaze in the customer's eyes, okay? You're not going up there and wanting to woo them like that, okay? You're just going up there wanting to have a conversation about windows. So don't creepily gaze in people's eyes and stuff like that. Eye contact is not that. Eye contact, by the way, you can break eye contact. You're not like when you keep eye contact with somebody, you're not trying to intimidate them. It's just a matter of being confident. That's all it is. So when I'm talking to a customer, I'll tell you when I'll break eye contact the first time. I knock on their door. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy and Mr. Jones. Great, Mr. Jones. I just did some work for your neighbor, Mrs. Smith, and I break eye contact right there and I point to Mrs. Smith's theoretic house. Okay. I don't point to any specific direction. I just kind of point backwards and look in that direction. And they'll notice that the customer, when you break eye contact that you've been keeping for even that couple of seconds, they will move their eyes with yours. Okay. So it creates an experience where, again, they'll move their eyes with yours. We just finished up some work from Mrs. Smith right down on 123 Main Street, back to eye contact. The reason why I'm here is because look, you got the original vinyl windows. How long have you lived in the home? Okay. Now, when I point to the original vinyl windows, all right, they should look away probably. They're probably going to look at the vinyl windows. I'm probably going to still talk to them, but they're going to look away. Now, either way, when I go to the window problems, that's when I'm going to start to deviate a little bit. Okay. That's when I'm going to start to look more at the windows and kind of get them involved that way. But again, all this involvement, okay, having them do these things, even just in the beginning of that pitch, it makes a total transformation of the customer, okay? And when you can adapt and change the customer to you, it makes the sales process a lot easier because you're not just trying to adapt to the customer, they've already adapted to you, okay? All right, I'm missing one. What am I missing? I'm missing one here. That's going to drive me crazy if I forget it. Eye contact. I'll mention this. You know, you don't have to handshake the customer, okay? But if you do handshake the customer, you don't have to crush their hand either, okay? That's not a power move or anything like that, okay? So don't try to go for silly power moves. Just having basic respect and confidence is what's going to win you appointments with the customer, okay? So that's what I want you to focus on with those things there. Okay. The conversation should carry from part to part, okay? So the next thing is that the script naturally carries. So accepting that, so you are responsible for any issues you guys have a good one. Thank you. So you're responsible for any issues or disconnection in the script. What I mean by that is this. Okay, so what I mean by that is this. What I mean by disconnection in the script, you being responsible for it, is the script will naturally move you through different parts. So you'll go, for example, to may I make a suggestion? If you skip, may I make a suggestion? Or if you skip the transition into may I make a suggestion? So, Mr. Jones, you do know that you're going to have to replace your windows in the next couple of years. May I make a suggestion? If you replace that, then I'm telling you right now, you're going to inherently lose. Okay, it's just the way that it's going to be. It's going to be so much harder for you to win that. All right. If you screw that up, if you miss a part or whatever, that's gonna end the appointment right there for you. So the script has to naturally carry you from part to part, and that is going to get you to, you want to be at 85+% of one second, I screwed that up. I didn't want to go over that yet. I did not want to go through that yet. So yeah, we'll go through that. That's fine. So 85% of the time you want to make it through the value of the visit. Okay. 85% of the time. That's what you want to be responsible for. 85% of the time. Because if you do that, then you're going to book a certain amount of people automatically. Okay. Automatically, you're going to have a certain amount of people that you book if you do that. So 85% of the time, guys, is going to get you the win all the time. All right. So that being said, how do we do that? Rebuttals are an important part of what we do. That said, the system is more than just rebuttals and allows you to dictate your success. Okay. All right. So it allows you to dictate your success. All right. So what I mean by that is this, is that when I'm going through this script here, I'm going to give you guys a couple examples. That's the best thing I can do. Knock, knock, knock. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I hope you're Mr. Jones. I'm not interested right now. The customer doesn't even know why I'm there. I haven't gotten anywhere with them yet. So why would I entertain that with well, I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you're ready to replace your windows. Why would I entertain that with a serious rebuttal? Okay. A full rebuttal when they don't even know why I'm there yet. No, at that point, I'm barely going to acknowledge what they say. I'm going to, but I'm barely going to. Okay. So here's an example. Knock, knock, knock. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I hope you're Mr. Jones. I'm not interested. Okay, well, I assume you're Mr. Jones. The reason why I'm here, I'll let you know, is because I'm with Renewal by Anderson, and we just finished up a job for your neighbor, Mrs. Smith, right down the street. Okay, so I'm just going to get right to it. All right. So again, knock, knock, knock. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I hope you're Mr. Jones. Yeah, no, I'm not interested. Okay, so I'll let you know the reason why I'm here. We just finished up a job for Mrs. Smith over on 123 Main Street. I'm with Renewal by Anderson, by the way, like I said. And the reason why I'm out here is to look to get the original vinyl windows. How long have you lived in the home? Okay. Now, what's going to happen there is they're going to give me another objection. They're not going to go, oh, okay. Well, since you put it that way, sounds good. But it's getting me further along. It's allowing me, it's carrying me to the next objection, which is fine. So when I say, how long have you lived in your home? They might answer, but most likely, even if they do answer, it's going to come with a, yeah, 5 years, but I'm not interested. You know? Or it might just come with a, no, I already said I'm not interested. Okay, so I won't waste a lot of your time. Okay, that's my kind of power note. I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, Mr. Jones, well, I won't waste your time. All right, very simple, just like that. I won't waste your time, but walking up, I did notice X, Y, and Z. I'll be out of your hair quickly then, Mr. Jones. I definitely won't waste your time. That being said, walking up, I noticed X, Y, and Z. All right, so you're going to have to control the conversation with the window problems a lot more in a situation like that because the customer's not having it, okay? But it does not make it difficult to get through. So how would I continue that is the question, right? How would I continue that then, right? Because great, fantastic. I say continue with the window problem conversation, but it's not that easy. It's not just, you guys are out there, it's not that simple. 1 second. And I got it. I agree. It's not that simple. Of course it's not. Okay. That being said, it doesn't have to be hard. Okay. So this is the way it will sound. So knock, knock, knock. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duff. You must be Mr. Jones. Yeah, I'm not interested. That's okay, Mr. Jones. I just want to let you know why I'm here. I'm with Renewal by Anderson, and we just did some work for Mrs. Smith right down the street on 123 Main Street. Look, you had the original vinyl windows. I wanted to talk to you. How long have you lived in the home? I'm not interested, I said. 5 years, but I'm not interested, I said. Okay, Mr. Jones. Well, I'll tell you what, then I'll make sure that I get out of your hair very, very quickly. But before I do, I just wanted to point out, walking up, I noticed some mold in the corners and edges of your windows on the front left-hand side here. And on the right-hand side, there was a bit of condensation in 2 of the windows. So obviously, these are older. Will that be correct? Well, obviously, these are older. How long again? You said you lived in the home for 5 years? Whatever. Anything to move the conversation forward. I just want to point the problems out to that customer. Now, there's a certain amount of customers that are going to change their tune at this point because they know that you know the problems. They're not going to hide the boat anymore. They're going to at least be upfront with you about the window problems. They're at least going to answer that for you. Okay, and then there's a certain segment that are just not. Either way, it doesn't really matter. If they tell you again, no, look, man, I told you my windows are fine. I'm not interested. Or I know my windows have problems, but I'm not going to be interested in doing the windows anytime soon. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just not interested. Okay, sir. Well, I'll tell you what then. I'll skip this part. I'm just going to ask you, may I make a suggestion? Okay. Or I'll tell you what, sir. All right, then I'm just going to make a suggestion for you. Okay. If you feel like you can't even give the customer that much control. All right, Mr. Jones, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to make a suggestion for you. Okay. And that's the way that you do it. I'm just going to make a suggestion for you. And then your value of the visit, guys, that becomes important to grow with the customer as well. So then I would say to that customer, okay, well, Mr. Jones, what I would suggest is that we have a foreman come out, just take a look at your windows, see if we can do what needs to be done here, find out what you like, and then leave you with a free price quote that's good for a full year. Leave you with a free price quote. I'm sure that'd be helpful. All right. Now that person's probably going to say not interested again. I didn't even give a full value of the visit because the customer doesn't see the value yet. Right? I'm trying to work them through the system. Either way is fine. I could have gave them a full value of the visit. Okay. The point is I'm getting further along in the script. So now I say, does that sound helpful? And that customer is probably going to say, no, it doesn't. Or not right now. I'm not interested in that. I already told you that. Okay, Mr. Jones, well, I'm glad that you brought that up. The goal of the visit, though, is just to go over your options, answer any questions that you might have, and then leave you with a quote that's good for a full year. Now, I have your last name here as Jones. What's your first? Okay. So you see, guys, how I'm continuing to push through the scripting regardless of objection. Now, you might go, well, where's that going? Because that's not going to schedule an appointment. I agree. That customer's not going to be like, oh, okay, cool. You're the second coming. Sounds good. Go ahead. Fair enough. That's not going to happen. I know that's not going to happen. I'm not stupid, right? I get that. I get that that's not going to happen. All right. But I'm getting that much farther along. So the value there, the reason why that's valuable to get that much farther along, the reason why that's valuable is because now I can start to deal with real objections. When the customer gives me an objection, I can actually assess it and I can go, okay, well, what are we really talking about here? What's the real issue here? Okay. So I can do that. That's why that's important. Right. So now when I get down to that part, and that customer says to me again, look, I'm not interested. They say to me, look, man, I've told you now 5 times. I'm just not going to be doing anything with the windows anytime soon. So I appreciate your visit, but I'm just not going to be doing anything anytime soon with the windows. And now I can say to that person, well, Mr. Jones, I didn't expect to catch you on the day that you're ready to replace your windows, but that's why we have to quote good for a full year, so that you have some free information for whenever you are ready. Now, what time of day works best for you, Mr. Jones? Mornings, afternoons, or evenings? Okay. So I keep going at it. I just rebutted that guy 6 times for the same objection, Lord. Right? Real life, that's what it should sound like. Real life. That gets you through it 85% of the time, guys, which is good. Okay, rebuttals are important. They're important because of what I just did at the last part there, right at the end. Okay, that required a rebuttal. I had nothing else left in me. I had utilized the script to the best of my ability to get the customer through it. I didn't create any magic. I didn't go over any magic personal connections. I didn't go, oh, Mr. Jones, how old is that rock? Like that one guy in training a long, long time ago. No, I just had a conversation with the person, right, that moved us down to this part, which is great, fine, and fantastic. It means that most of the time I'm going to have a good opportunity to set a good amount of appointments. Okay, any questions on that so far?
No.
Okay. Now, getting more specific, when you get customers like this, guys, that are giving you some, but they're not giving it their all. And you go to a part like, may I make a suggestion, or I can't afford this right now. Okay. Or I'm sorry, may I make a suggestion? Or does that sound helpful? You're going to get responses from the customer like, look, I'm just not interested right now. I just went through a nasty divorce. Oh, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a terrible thing to have to go through. And then they're going to probably say something like, oh, it's the best decision I ever made, or something like that, right? Like they all say. Either way, Mr. Jones, I am sorry to hear that. Okay. That being said, this is the best time to take a look at your windows. Or that being said, no, you're not trying to give it to that. Being said, Mr. Jones, I'm glad that you told me that. This is why this could be the best time to take a look at your windows. What we'll do is go over your options, leave you with a free price quote. That way, down the line when you're ready, you at least have the information set aside. I'm not even giving them a real rebuttal. I'm just utilizing the script. I'm acknowledging what they say, and then I'm utilizing the script, right? Something that will come up pretty frequently in the springtime is, no, we already picked out our projects for the spring. Or, no, we're already done our kitchen or our roof or our whatever. We're doing our driveway over. And you guys know my response to that, but I'll give it to you now. Anyways, most of those situations, I would say, well, Mr. Jones, I actually appreciate you telling me that. Okay. I really appreciate that. All right. That being said, you're saving me a lot of time. What we'll do is just come out, go over your options, answer your questions, and leave you with a quote good for one full year. I have your last name as Jones. What's your first? All right. So it's an easy transition because the script does work for us a lot. Okay. So does that sound helpful? Yeah. I mean, down the line, but just not right now. Oh no, of course not. Of course not right now, Mr. Jones. What we do is actually have somebody come on at a convenient time for you. They take a look at your windows, see how we can help you, and we'll leave you with a free quote. Okay. That way, when you already at least have the information set aside. All right. So there's a million different ways that you can go with this, guys, but it's just answering to a basic level the customer objections. Okay. Any questions on that?
No.
All right. So I'll tell you what. So that's the basics of this. Okay. I'm getting exhausted. Number one. Number two. We still have to go through window training with the people that started the last week. Some last bit of window training. So I'm gonna pull up some pictures of problems with the windows and stuff and get ready to do that training. Okay. I'm gonna stop this recording now, and then we'll continue this because this is important stuff to go over. That being said, I think that we got through a good bit of it today, and I appreciate you guys being on here today. Okay. If you have questions individually during this week, we're definitely going to do training like this again. Okay. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, that's a good time to ask or text them over to me.